A wizard is never late, Frodo Baggins. Nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
Is what I tell myself when my review is a week late for ROH Death Before Dishonor, but Gandalf never lies. Hello and welcome to FTTR, I am Ewan McQuaid, and today we are talking about Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor 2022. I finally got round, I've watched it, and I'm finally reviewing it. Be it a week late, but it is what it is. And this is the second Ring of Honor show under the sort of new regime of Tony Khan since he bought it. We had Final Battle first, and now we have this show. It's got all the new branding, new stars, new everything. Okay, so first off, before I fully get into the view, I want to talk about the tone of Ring of Honor, because the tone actually is one of my biggest sort of criticisms with Ring of Honor. I wish they did sort of differentiate it a little bit more, because you've got the branding and stuff, you've got a smaller stage than you would for Dynamite, but I don't think it differentiates itself enough from AEW. Granted, you've got the AEW stars there, but maybe just a different set, more of a sort of scheme change, a layout change, something like that. I think it'd make it feel a bit more different than AEW. But that's my one sort of nitpick in terms of presentation. Everything else, apart from the fact I had a bad stream on Fight for the first 15 minutes or so, everything else, presentation-wise, I thought was great. Caprice Coleman and Ian Riccaboni on commentary, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Announcer, fantastic. Everything, presentation-wise, I think it's great. I really like the new graphics as well. Well, I like the old Ring of Honor logo. It's very, not tacky. I like it for nostalgia purposes. It's very of its time. And I think a rebrand is perfect. I really like this aesthetic, the red and the black and everything. I think it looks great. But we're here to talk about the wrestling. How did Ring of Honor deliver in terms of the wrestling department? Well, let's get into it. Here's my review. I'm going to go through the matches, go through the angles, tell you everything that happened. Let's get straight into it with the main card. Starting off, and this was a big surprise, Claudio Castagnoli versus Jonathan Gresham for the Ring of Honor World Championship opened the show. Absolutely fantastic decision. I really like that. I really like that they put over on commentary the fact that it was basically a toying cost. Either FTR versus the Briscoes were going to main event and this would open, or vice versa. And I thought that was a really, really intriguing way to put it, because both matches are so big and grandiose. This match for me, I enjoyed this match. I thought it was good. I love how Claudio, he starts his matches really quick, goes straight for the uppercut, and this time Gresham dodged him, because Gresham is a technical marvel. He knows every hold, he knows how to avoid people. But this match for me didn't get enough time. I think that was my big issue with this. It didn't get enough time for a world title match, and it felt like they were just getting into the final gear. Then the match ended and Claudio beat Gresham. Gresham has been a fantastic champion. Absolutely fantastic Ring of Honor champion. He's done great stuff over here in the UK. He's done great stuff with, Terminus and stuff like that. So I think he's been a great champion. But in terms of Tony Khan's era of Ring of Honor, he's moving forward. And Claudio's the champion. Claudio, who looks so thrilled to win after a fantastic match. There were some really cool spots in this. One of my favourite spots was this huge gut wrench suplex over the ropes from Claudio to Gresham. Really played up that size difference and stuff like that. But Claudio won. He looked so thrilled to win. He looked so happy. And I'm happy. I'm happy as the Ring of Honor champion. I really, really am. And it was a really good match. Gresham seemingly done with wrestling entirely after something that happened backstage. So that's a shame, because he is one of my favourite wrestlers in the world. But solid match to go out on. Let's put it that way. Really solid match. Then we got a promo from Daniel Garcia going into his pure championship match with Wheeler Yuta, in which he said he doesn't really care for Ring of Honor. I think that's a really cool attitude to have, and the fact that he's going to break the championship if he won. Really cool angle, really cool story beats, and Garcia's sort of bubbling to the surface as my favourite JAS member. So yeah, really exciting stuff this. Next match we got was The Righteous taking on Dalton Castle and the boys. This maybe shouldn't have been on the show. If you'd have cut this, you probably would have had that perfect 2.5 hours that the NXT takeovers delivered back in the day. But overall, I thought this was pretty fun. It was a 6-man tag match for the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team championships. Well, there's a lot of words to be spoken here. A lot of words indeed. The standout of this match for me was Dutch on the Righteous. I thought he was so cool, so athletic for such a big guy. And I've seen him briefly in Ring of Honor, but he was always sort of that powerhouse. Here he really got to show both sides of his character. And Dalton Castle and the boys, I think they're fun, really fun act. It's good to see them win. Dalton Castle's one of the most charismatic men alive right now. And yeah, they put on a really fun match. There was this really fun bit where he says, did he say, "Bring me a boy"? And then he just hurls the boys at his opponents over the top rope. That was really fun, really got the crowd going. And yeah, they picked up the win. Dalton Castle and the boys are the new Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions. Really good stuff. Can't wait to see, where that division goes, especially with the introduction of the AEW Trios Championships, how that's going to fare. We shall see. We shall see about that. Then we got a Jay Lethal promo. He's cutting it on Samoa Joe. Really good stuff. Consistent, but again, kind of seen all this on Dynamite. Then we got Daniel Garcia taking on Wheeler Yuta in one of the best matches of the night. But again, there's a lot of great matches on this card. But I really, really love this. This was a technical masterclass. William Regal on commentary as well really, really added to this match. He really did. His insight into how Wheeler Yuta has been training with the Blackpool Combat Club was really great stuff. And he put over Daniel Garcia as well. There was some really just unique stuff, unique transitions. And the best thing about this, I thought, as someone who's watched a lot of pure wrestling matches, they usually exhaust the rope breaks quite fast. But this match ended with one rope break being used because these guys are so technically sound that they didn't have to go to the ropes. They had to go to the ropes once, which I think is brilliant. I think it's a brilliant piece of storytelling between these two. These two feel like they're destined to do this forever, like Garcia is Wheeler Yuta's Joker. And that I'm all for. I'm all for these guys just having absolute bangers all the time. There was a really sick bit in the middle where they just started slapping each other and the crowd were on their feet. It was great. And it was a roll up. It was a roll up. Garcia got too cocky. He was mocking Bryan Danielson in the match. And Wheeler Yuta rolled him up. I think that's a really satisfying conclusion to this match, but not a satisfying conclusion to their story, which I think will progress further in Ring of Honor. Then we got potentially match of the night. It's very hard to call on this card, but Roosh versus Dragon Lee. Holy hell. They gave these guys a lot of time, and they earned it because this was a hard-hitting Lucha Libre match, and a lot of really hard slaps, really solid kicks from Roosh. He's an incredible striker. The noise he gets on some of them is insane. And then just ridiculous high spots like a goddamn belly-to-belly suplex, running belly-to suplex off the apron to Dragon Lee. He made such a thud when he hit the floor, and I was wondering for his safety. But this match was incredible. Just really incredible stuff. It's no wonder Roosh got the championship match following this. And yeah, just breathtaking brother versus brother stuff. I think they had it wasn't necessarily a massive story in this. The main story was that Roosh was more of the dickhead brother who was trying to cheat to win, to beat his brother. But Dragon Lee held his own. Dragon Lee, I hope, sticks around in Ring of Honor as well. But yeah, Roosh, he hit the ball and he won at the end after a 20-minute slugfest. I absolutely loved this. I thought it was fantastic match. Next match we got was Serena Deeb versus Mercedes Martinez for the Ring of Honor World Women's Championship. This was good. I think I was expecting... Maybe my hopes were too high for this because I really, really love Serena Deeb's work. It didn't necessarily underwhelm me. I just sort of think it was there. I didn't get too much, didn't grab my attention as much. Can't really remember many spots from this as well. It's a shame because I think these two could have put on an absolutely fantastic match given time. I'd like to see them in sort of a 30-minute Iron Woman match or something like that, because the mix of power from Mercedes Martinez mixed with the technical mastery of Serena Deeb, I think the story sort of writes itself there, but they never really played into any of that. It was just kind of a match at the end of the day. I was really hoping Deeb would win as well, because Mercedes Martinez hasn't really been featured on anything as of late that I can remember, whereas Deeb's been quite a prominent figure in AEW. So to see Mercedes win, I was a bit down on that. I really thought Deeb could have done wonders with the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship. But end of the day, it was a solid match. I just can't really recall many of the spots from this because it wasn't that memorable of a match. Then we got Samoa Joe taking on Jay Lethal for the Ring of Honor Television Championship. The video package for this match has done more for this feud than all of the Jay Lethal promos that happened on Dynamite. It had, pre AEW footage from Ring of Honor. It had interviews, talking heads with people from Ring of Honor. It was just immaculately done. So I don't know why they didn't highlight any of that on AEW, because they own the library. But this match was really solid. I thought it dipped a bit in the middle. So it starts off with Joe just gunning for Jay Lethal, throws the title down, and the brawling on the outside. Satnam Singh gets involved, and all that nonsense occurs. And yeah, it was good. It got a bit slow, a bit rest holdy in the middle. It sort of felt like it lost its weight a bit, but the ending sequence was fantastic. I think we all sort of knew what was coming. Well, you got Jay Lethal attempting the muscle buster on Samoa Joe. Never going to happen. Then he goes for the lethal injection, gets caught in the choke. It's right, wrote itself. It's exactly what needed to happen. I'm just happy both guys can move on from this, because it feels like it's been building a lot. It's had probably the most build out of most matches on this entire card, and the build hasn't been particularly great. But I really, really enjoyed this at the end of it. I just want to see Joe move on and do something else. One more spot I want to talk about. There was a really solid near fall off a lethal injection from Jay Lethal. Great. Really great stuff. Joe's really good at kicking out last minute. Really good. This match overall, really solid stuff. And finally, we have FTR vs. the Briscoes 2. 2 out of 3 falls match. This was one of my most anticipated matches of the year. And it delivered. I'll definitely say it delivered. But I love that first one so much. That first one is near and dear to my heart because it hit me at just the right time. Just when sort of I was ready to just, not give up on wrestling, that's weird. But I was in a bit of a lump, a dip, let's put it that way. And then that match came along and just reminded me how good pro wrestling is when done right and when the stories are told right. And I just didn't think they could live up to it, and they didn't, in my opinion. I think the 2 out of 3 falls stipulation sort of hurt the flow of the match, but I'm not a fan of 2 out of 3 falls matches anyway, because they don't really, you're just kind of waiting for that final fall anyway. That's the issue that the Johnny Gargano Adam Cole match had. But some of the stuff in this was great, absolutely great storytelling. The heart of FTR, the hot tags, each person hitting their finish, and that's what gets the win for them, gets the fall. And I think the story that they were telling with the Briscoes was they were so desperate to hit that doomsday device, because it got them that first fall, and they kept going back to that well again and again and again. And it was ultimately their downfall. They lost. FTR won. Hottest tag team on the planet at the moment. And yeah, they had an absolute cracker. People were bleeding. It was, Briscoes played heel. They used the ring bell to sort of try and get a sneaky fall on FTR. So I think their desperation really, really came through with this. And it was just really great storytelling, but not as strong as the first one. When you have a film like, I'm blanking on film, when you have an Iron Man 1, I I don't know why that was the first one that came into my head. When you have an Insidious one, when you have a Star Wars, A New Hope, that's a bad one because Empire Strikes Back is really, really good. But it's often hard to top the original. And in many cases, you cannot. But this will still go down as one of the best tag team matches of all time. Like, don't let me underplay that. It is fantastic. I'd recommend you check it out. It is one you need to focus on, phone off, and everything like that. Watching them back to back, I think, would be really interesting. I might go back and do that. But I'm so engrossed by this feud and I'm engrossed by these characters that I want to see more. I really want to see more of FTR and the Briscoes. It sort of ended off with them giving the respect to the Briscoes. FTR did after the win, which is really good, really good. And then they got the stare down from the Blackpool Combat Club. Claudio and Wheeler Yuta gave FTR a stare down. We'll see where that goes, but that's how the show ended. Overall, I don't think this was as strong as Final Battle. Final Battle was one of the best wrestling shows of the year. This didn't come to that level, mainly because of the Claudio match not going as long as I thought it would, and FTR Briscoes just, being fantastic, but not as great as the match that was on the previous show. But overall, this is a 4 out of 5 show. 4 out of 5 show. I'd highly recommend you check it out if this is your sort of jumping in point to Ring of Honor. Do it, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get new fans on. More wrestling is good wrestling. So check it out if you haven't. I want to know what you thought about Death Before Dishonor down in the comments below, and I'll try and reply to every single one of you. Thank you all ever so much for your support, and have a nice day.